So, now regarding the Trump situation, right? We've been having Colonel Chris White here in South Africa being the one who trumpets Trump's supremacy upon us, but there are loyalists over there in the USA that we can listen to and rely on to find the right angle and the full truth about who Donald Trump is. Colonel Chris White will constantly tell you that he's a leftist. So with this particular example here, we've got a guy by the name of Kyle Kulinski. He runs the very big channel Circular Talk. So this is a guy that, you know what? He belittles Christianity. He rubbishes it. He says the Bible is horse crap. And he's a person who supports LGBTQ, abortion. I don't want to say the word. And all of these weird, strange things that secular people believe are values. Besides that, if anything is embarrassing, ugly, and he can't stomach it, he just says, look, it's whoever's freedom to just do whatever they like. So he's got that morality where he says, you know what, there's some morality, it's what I say, but outside of that, I still accept somebody else's immorality to be some morality to them. But the morality of Christ, he will say thumbs down to that entirely. And so here we are with this kind of guy, who I listen to though, because his views on politics somewhat make sense a little bit. And then he's talking about Nick Fuentes, who is a right-winger, somebody who was pro-Trump for quite a lot of time. He's a nationalist, so he's a proud American. He's OG American, if you don't know what nationalists are. And so this nationalist has had it with Trump. And you've got a left-winger bringing it to you and a Christian here reacting to it. So who does Colonel Chris White want to debate with?
But this is just the dumbest thing I've ever heard, ever, from Trump. And I'm not a Trump derangement syndrome guy. I supported Trump for a very long time. I happen to think he's very intelligent. I happen to think he's very strategic or
That's a good one.
tactical. This is the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard from him ever. This is like, it's almost worrying. You almost think, what is the cognitive state of the president? Is he even equipped to deal with the crisis? Because what it sounds like is muscle memory, like he's just falling back on a familiar pattern.
So what he's talking about here is Trump saying, hey, after Israel attacks Iran, kills all their top military officials, kills all their top political officials, their negotiators, their scientists, their nuclear scientists, bomb apartment buildings. After Israel did that attack, Trump seemed to actually think, like, no, now I'm more likely to get a deal after Israel starts the fucking war with Iran. Yeah, because everybody's always in a great mood to negotiate and do diplomacy after all their people were fucking murdered, right? So what he's talking about here is Trump expressing to the press, like, well, hold on. Yeah, yes, I did greenlight the attack. I was in favor of the attack, but you know, Netanyahu talked to me and told me he thinks I'm more likely to get a deal if you just let them start the war first. And so Nick is saying that literally, like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. How could you think that that would help you in your quest to get a deal, right? All right, let's keep going.
There's gonna be no diplomacy. What are you talking about? They better come to the table before it's too late. It is too late. Israel crossed every red line. Why do you think Iran has a latent nuclear weapons program? It's literally for this contingency. That's why it exists. That's why they wouldn't give it up, because they knew this was coming. And Trump comes on Twitter today and says, oh, well, they better come and make a deal. It's legitimately concerning.
What did we talk about the other day? His cognitive abilities are getting worse. He's declining mentally. That's why he said multiple things in the course of one day that where everybody was like, what the fuck did he just say? He said he's not the sharpest bulb talking about Joe Biden. And they were like, he said Gavin Newsom's decisions in LA have led to tremendous death. Nobody fucking died. Not a single person fucking died. There were like 3 or 4 incidents in one day. Everybody's like, what the fuck? So Trump has that kind of dementia that just makes you more angry and more boisterous, right? He doesn't have the Joe Biden kind of dementia where like he seems confused all the time. It's easier to spot the dementia when it's the Joe Biden type. But when it's the Trump type, because of his confidence and his arrogance and his bravado and his charisma, he can sort of override the fact that, and I've always said this about Trump, if you read an interview with him, right, where it's all in text, don't listen to it, read it, and you will see, holy fucking shit, this is sentence fragment after sentence fragment, totally disjointed thoughts. He goes off into the fucking wilderness and never brings it back to the main point. Like, you'll read this and go, something's wrong with the guy who's saying these things. Something's wrong. And guys, he's always been this fucking stupid. This is a guy who believes in his core that exercise is bad for you. Why? Because he says, oh, you're depleting your battery. You have like a battery, and the more you do, the weaker your battery becomes. So you'll die younger if you exercise. I'm not kidding. This is something he actually believes. And it's just one thing. He said, he asked if we could nuke a hurricane that if that would stop the hurricane. And this is the guy who Nick Fuentes, oh, I thought he was actually really intelligent and strategic. Well, now are you waking up? It sounds like he might be. All right, here we go. Let's keep going.
And Trump comes on Twitter today and says, oh, well, they better come and make a deal. It's legitimately concerning. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. And I'm not that guy. You know me, I'm not that guy. I'm not like a Kyle Kulinski, like liberal who says Trump's an idiot. I'm not like Stephen Colbert, who's...
First of all, I resent the fact that you just called me a liberal. I'm not a liberal, I'm a leftist. Second of all, comparing me to Stephen Colbert is fucking embarrassing. That guy's a joke, okay?
Yeah, so you're hearing it, right? There is Nick Fuentes actually referring to Kyle Kulinski over there. So he knows who this guy is. He knows his commentary, and he labels him a leftist. So Colonel Chris White can say, all right, fine, that is a leftist, and he admits it as well. But now, how do you argue with Fuentes? How do you argue with Steve Bannon, who are saying, let's let the South Africans get the hell out of here? I should have posted those videos before this one drops. I have a recording that I did before this one and like 9 videos to drop. So as this drops, I will have dropped some videos before this one, and you'll have seen me ask Colonel Chris White about that. So let's listen to more Nick Fuentes here.
Okay. But third of all, I love how in the segment where you admit that I'm 100% correct, you still try to take me down a peg. Well, guess what? This is what I said in my last segment, responding to Nick. This is what I said in my last segment. I said, maybe all you guys will fucking wait. Maybe all the groypers will grow up out of their fucking 15-year-old incel ideology, and they'll realize, hey, it seems like the leftists are right about everything, actually, right? Even notice, we were just talking about this, but even notice the way we talk about being anti-war. The Tucker Carlsons of the world go, oh, well, I don't ever really talk about Gaza because people get mad at me when I talk about Gaza, but they bombed a Christian church there, and I'm against the Christian church being bombed. And, you know, strategically, sir, I don't think this is the best idea to go to war with Iran. That's a chicken shit fucking argument from beginning to end. Okay? The real argument is Iran is not even trying to build a nuke. They never were trying to build a fucking nuke, number one. Number two, Israel did, and the U.S. did the illegal and offensive, aggressive attack against them. We started the war. We are the baddies. We are the baddies. In moral terms, this is wrong. In principle terms, this is wrong. That little chicken, oh, well, strategically, shut the fuck up. This isn't a strategic question. It's a moral question.
So you hear that? He knows some morality, but the more you listen to him, if you ask him what his morality is, he'll tell you that, yo, man, the morality of a man banging another man is total morality to him. And he'll say the Bible is horse crap. So we're all here not agreeing with each other, but can we agree something about Trump? Can Colonel Chris White just join the room? A right-winger, Nick Fuentes, whom we've covered on the channel before. Now, Kyle Kulinski, a leftist that I don't agree with, but I'm happy to hear him commentate on his country honestly if he can, and morality, whatever he believes that is. And Colonel Chris White, whom I don't agree with. He's twisting things. He's a propagandist, clearly. But can we agree sometimes Trump is screwed up, and this war with Iran that he's entering into with Israel is a bad idea and is going to kill a lot of American citizens. Well, a lot of Americans who are out and going to be involved in that war. It's going to be hectic, and it might be long and very gruesome and painful.
Should you attack a country that didn't fucking attack you and had no plans to attack you? No, you shouldn't, right? And that's the difference. The left has been right about this all along, every fucking step of the way, about Trump being a colossal fucking warmonger. I was 100% correct. And everybody who was pretending like he was the anti-war candidate, I was warning everybody and going through his entire fucking record from his first term, and it was water off a duck's ass. But now everybody, oh, maybe they were right. Yeah, no shit, we were fucking right. Of course we were fucking right.
Like liberal who says Trump's an idiot. I'm not like Stephen Colbert who says, oh, he's an orange dummy. I think he's very intelligent. This is truly like a mind-boggling, confusing response.
Because he is a fucking idiot, Nick. You're admitting that I'm right. This is weird. Turns out Trump's an idiot. Oh, look, I've said this before, but come up with any negative quality or characteristic you can, it applies to Trump. And I'm not kidding about that. Like, you know, you're taught, when you're brought up in this country, in a functional school district, let's say, you're taught very basic virtues. Like, hey, it's good to tell the truth and not lie. It's good to be altruistic and empathetic. It's good to treat people equally, right? It's good to have honor and integrity. Like, these are the things you're taught. Literally every single one of those things, Trump doesn't have it. He lies all the fucking time. He's such a pathological liar that, like, virtually almost every...
See, his morality comes from school. He comes from a commonly agreed circular decency. People who have some sense. And I'm not against sense, but morality is dictated by the creator of the world, not by people's unanimous agreement. Surely, there are people in the African continent who've got tribal cultures and beliefs where they sacrifice their children. They slit them and spill their blood to altars. And they see something magical, mystical, constantly happen and engage with them. They're able to activate and call things, and they respond. So clearly, the blood of the innocent is an ingredient that is required by the land of evil, the land of the spirit over there. Would you say that those people's agreement about their society and the powers that govern them are moral? That's why God comes in and says, you, African there, and your pagan acts, and you, secularist over there, and your LGBTQ love values, must all subject yourself under me. And so the world is screwed up because we don't want to do that.
Everything he says is a lie. Unless he says he's going to do something bad, then he means it and he'll actually do that bad thing. He is just the most greedy motherfucker on the planet, the most selfish, narcissistic motherfucker on the planet. Like, there are literally no good qualities about this man. And that also applies to his immense lack of intelligence.
And it's scary because it shows that Israel has such a sophisticated and complex and strategic view of the situation, and our president is out to lunch.
They're not sophisticated. They're able to get whatever they want because they know how to play the game. The Israel lobby spends colossal amounts of money in our political system. That's also why you don't hear many Democrats objecting in principle to what Trump and Netanyahu are doing. The Israel lobby has effectively bought our system of government.
So that's AIPAC, by the way. So Summer Sambit and what Colonel Chris White are kind of pushing together. Colonel Chris White not openly showing it as much, but why would he be aligned with Hamas, Israel? And no, why would he be aligned with Hamas and Iran in a random way while being a former military man of the United States? That's been the United States' enemies for a long time, right? And so he's pro-Israel at the current moment. He's pro-genocide. And the likes of Summer Sambit have been also influenced to join this murderous campaign and defend it with their mouths. And that's Israel's influence in the United States, and you are seeing it here being promoted in South Africa with Sambit looking like one of the first to really put in the influencer work. His influencer joints are really moving for this thing. The money's coming in.
And so when Trump takes $100 million from Miriam Adelson, this last race alone, that comes with strings attached. You're going to let them complete their final solution in Gaza. You're going to let Israel take over the West Bank. You're going to let them continue to bomb Lebanon and steal parts of Syria. And you're going to let them do war with Iran. It's actually very simple. The Israelis know, stroke the shit out of Trump's ego and just give him all the money in the world, and then he'll let you do whatever you want. And that's where we are. None of it is complicated. None of it is complex. None of it is nuanced. None of it is sophisticated. This is all very straightforward, very simple. It all goes back to political corruption, and it all goes back to our leader being a fucking corrupt idiot.
Israel has masterfully orchestrated this crisis from the very beginning in a sustained way, fighting off every challenge in a very difficult domestic political climate. And our president seems to be like stunned almost. It's scary.
I just said it in our last segment about Nick, that maybe you guys will eventually realize, oh, actually the leftists are correct about everything. Maybe I should be a lefty. Yeah.
That's the hubris of the left. He says Trump is narcissistic. The dude is packing narcissistic energy.
Could not have said it any better myself, son. That's exactly right. And you should be more on the page that the guy's a fucking idiot, because I don't know how much clearer he can make it. All right, guys, that's the show, y'all. I love y'all very much.
Yeah, so I think that's the end of what I have for you today. It's a pretty short day. I'll be seeing you in the next one. Hope you like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'm out of here.